everyone, Adam here. Welcome back to another video. Spring's in the air. Water's finally warming up. You can hear the birds singing behind me. Enzo's jumping on my leg. Yeah, those fish are moving shallow and getting a lot more active leading into the summer. So I wanted to make a video about the best bass fishing lure across the country, in my opinion, and that's the Gary Yamamoto 5-inch Senko. As you can see here, I buy these things in bulk. They absolutely get bit, and frankly, if you haven't heard about them before, you've been living under a rock. So I just wanted to go over a few tips and techniques that can help you catch more fish and also save you some money, because again, let's be honest, the Yamamoto baits, not just the Senko, Yamamoto baits in general are known to rip and tear easily after a fish or two. So I'm going to show you guys how to reuse and help save you a little bit of money. So let's dive right into it. There's something about the way a weightless Senko falls. To the average person, if they saw it in the water, they'd say, that looks ridiculous. I don't understand why a fish eats it. But to any avid or slightly experienced fisherman, that wobble that it has as it's falling down, you just know that thing's gonna get bit. It's something that just calls out to the fish, especially in that cleaner water from so far away. Those really smart, wary fish just watch that thing fall and they can't resist it. And once they inhale it, that the salt that they use in that specific Gary Yamamoto plastic, those fish don't let go of it. I can't tell you how many times I've set the hook on a fish and that thing is completely down its throat. Quick segue, that being said, if you guys are gonna fish the Senko, I really recommend you look up videos on how to remove a hook that a fish has swallowed. Real quick, you can go in through the gill with your pliers and you can turn that hook and pop it out. Don't rip that hook out of that fish's gut. It will kill it. If you don't know how to do that and it's completely gone, it's better to cut that hook off and let that fish go. That being said, I mean, I can't tell you how many fish I've caught that are passing a hook. It's like I see line coming out and I'm like, what the heck? And I go and I can back that hook out. So they've actually processed the whole hook through their belly and they were fine. And I'm obviously still eating because I caught them. But yeah, back to the subject here. Sorry about that little segue. First and foremost, the most popular way to rig a Senko is just that standard Texas rig. Anywhere from a 1/0 to a 2/0 hook. Just going in through the nose there, back through the top. Ah, bee! Jeez! See, the bees even love the Senko. That's crazy. And then you can Texpose or skin hook right there. That way it's almost perfectly weedless. If you do cast over some sticks or anything like that you don't want to get snagged on, just wind it really slow and just give it like a little hop over it. If you wind it too quick, obviously if you're Texposing, you're gonna get snagged. But that presentation right there, hands down, from, in my opinion, late February all the way through early December, it will catch fish, especially for people that are shore fishing. This is a great bait. You can just walk the bank, fire it out at anything that looks like it's holding fish, let it hit bottom, and you can either drag it slowly back to you all the way along the bottom, kind of like your Texas rigging, or if you're trying to cover more water, one of my favorite ways to use it is I'll fire it out at a tree, a dock, a stump, a rock pile, let it hit bottom, give it a twitch, let it hit bottom again, and if I'm not bit, I'll wind up and cast to another spot. Most of my bites on the Senko come on that initial fall. So I don't like to drag bottom with it. If I'm going to be dragging bottom, I think there's plenty of other baits that are more effective. Just off the top of my head, like a jig, Ned rig, anything Texas rig, drop shot. So this for me is a great bait that I like to just go around, fire it out at a tree stump, fire it out at a brush pile, along a tule line, let it hit bottom, twitch, let it hit bottom, twitch, nothing, cast out again. I like to fish this on anywhere from 6-pound test up to like 12, 14 pound. You can go a little heavier if you really want to, if you're fishing around super heavy cover and you know there's big fish around. You can go up to 20 if you really wanted to. But I like to hover in that 10, 12 pound range. I think that's the most effective line for me, because it's light enough where you're still going to get bites, but strong enough if you do hook a fish in something thick, you have a good chance of pulling them out of there. And like I was saying, anywhere from a 1/0 to a 3/0 hook is perfect. I buy these Gamakatsu Superline EWG in bulk, the 2/0. That's my favorite, just standard Texas rig hook. I like the Superline because, again, that little bit heavier hook makes it fall a little faster and makes that wobble a little more. And also, if you do stick a good one, you have a better chance of landing it. And you know, if you go lighter wire, you have to fish lighter drag. That fish can turn its head, get into that cover, that structure, and break you off, or bend that hook out. So that's my favorite. But if you have any other hooks you like to use, it's pretty universal for any like 1/0 to 3/0 hooks. One of the few downfalls of the Senko is that it does rip very easily. There are other brands of stick baits that are a different material that lasts longer. However, I haven't found one that has that same subtle wobble all the way down. And again, I wholeheartedly believe that that salt impregnated plastic really gets fish to commit to bite, and also hold on to that bait long enough for you to get a good hook set on them. So I know they rip easily, but if you're going to be out there spending all your time and effort fishing a stick bait, why not use the best one on the market to put you in the best place to catch the biggest fish, right? You don't want to spend all this time out there fishing the wrong one, having it just fall dead straight, smells weird, the fish look at it and don't want to eat it. Stick with the Senko, in my opinion. However, they do rip. As soon as that nose blows out right there, you can, if you're on a wide open bite, cut it down shorter and just keep re-rigging it. But the shorter that bait is, the less of that natural wobble you're gonna have. So once that nose blows out or it rips right here, I take that bait, I don't toss it, I put it in a separate bag. So you can see I just have this random assortment of colors that I've used over the years in a little Ziploc bag, and that's what I wacky rig with. So you're not using brand new ones to wacky rig, because again, wacky rigging, you're ripping those things in half, and then from there, once those rip in half, I put them in another bag. I have those little half Senkos, and yeah, you probably guessed it, it's a perfect Ned rig bait. So save those for that fall, winter time, early spring bite where those fish are being really picky. I mean, this will get bit in the summer too, it really doesn't matter. Whenever you like to throw a Ned rig, you're reusing those Senkos 3 times instead of tossing them on that initial rip. So just a little trick there for you. As far as wacky rigging, really depends on what you're fishing around. When I'm around like brush piles or trees or anything like that, I go with this. It's a Gamakatsu Finesse WG weedless. So that one has that little guard to help you be able to pull it over stumps and tree branches or anything like that. Toolies if you're really flipping back in there. And that's the size 1. And then if I'm fishing more open water or like rock piles, like flats, anything where I'm really working that wacky rig kind of on bottom, I like this one here. You can use any of your favorite like drop shot hooks, but I just like that BKK Predator. The wide gap really gives you a good bite on the hook set. But yeah, let's talk about wacky rigging really quick. Texas rig is great. You can fish that heavier hook in some thicker cover. However, sometimes when you're skipping that bait way back in there, the Senko has a tendency to drop down and expose that hook, especially if you've made a bunch of casts and it gets loose right here. If I'm skipping under docks, I'm almost always wacky rigging. For some reason, I can skip that thing so far on wacky rig, whereas Texas rig, it kind of blows out. So wacky rig's fun when you're skipping under docks. And then also if you're fishing some sort of isolated structure, like a rock pile, some sort of creek channel, and you actually want to work that bait, one, you have a chance of getting bit on that initial sink, because when you wacky rig it, it's still going to have that wobble all the way down. But once it's on bottom, obviously wacky rigging it, it's hopping more. That hook's in the center. So you can actually effectively fish it, in my opinion, a lot better wacky rig, because you can shake it and then let it fall back down. Shake, shake, shake. And that thing's just on the bottom, kicking, stirring up some mud, sand, whatever. You can pop it over a rock, let it fall back down, and that technique gets absolutely bit. To date, my biggest bass that I've ever caught came on a wacky rig Senko 8-pound test with this hook, and that fish was over 13 pounds. So yeah, it fools big ones, and I've caught countless other giant fish on that wacky rig. For you bank anglers, I probably recommend the wacky rig, because more often than not, you're kind of isolated to certain spots on your body of water. So you can fire that out there, let it sink to the bottom, and actually work it back in and get more bites working it back in than just kind of dead stick dragging this along the bottom. Again, personal preference, try them both ways. Whatever gets bit more in your body of water, stick with that. Just some advice for you guys to try. Oh, let me jump back to the Texas rig. Like I just said, if you notice your Texas rig is really blowing out and falling down, I recently have been fishing these BKK Titan Riders. So it's a screw lock, but if you look right there, it has almost like a little bobber stop on it. And to be completely honest, when I first got these, I looked at them and I was like, that's got to be a gimmick, right? It looks super gimmicky to me. There's no way I'm going to find any real use for that over a regular Texas rig hook. However, I'm glad Oliver Nye actually gave me some of these. I'm glad he did, because once I started fishing them, I found numerous amounts of applications where these hooks really help you. So you can pin that on there, and then you have that little bobber stop on the bottom, and you can push that up to keep that Senko pinned up against that hook right there. So if you are skipping it, or you're making long casts, or that Senko's getting a little worn out, you can just pin that up there. Give those a try. These are the 3/0s. I didn't bring the 2/0s, but I normally fish the 2/0 for the Senkos with those. And again, as you guys can see, I like to buy these in bulk. I know I'm gonna fish them. They don't go bad if you keep them in your garage. So I know it can add up if you have a good fishing day and you're just blowing through packs of Senkos. It can get expensive quickly. So when your local tackle stores are having their sales, or online they're having their sales, and you know you're gonna end up fishing Senkos at some point in time, just bite the bullet and buy a bunch right off the bat, and then just hang them in your garage. And then as they rip, switch to that wacky rig. Look, there's one, it's got a hook already in there. Wacky rig them, and then you got your Ned rigs afterwards. Oh, real quick, this one's already rigged up in here, so let me just show you. I don't know what these are called. I'm sure every brand calls them something different, but if you've never used one before, they can also kind of prolong the life of your wacky rig Senko. Let me find this guy. I saw him in there. Now he's hiding from me. Oh, there he is. There's a couple in here. This is a perfect example. But these right here, they have that little rubber band. So you slide the Senko in there, and you can slide these rubber bands onto the Senko, and then you put your hook through like that. And that helps when you hook that fish and it comes up to shake or jump. That rubber band helps keep that hook in the bait instead of just ripping and that bait flying away. But I don't know if you guys can see this, but how bit up this Senko is. So it's completely blown out on the nose. It's got that big hole right there, bite marks all over it. Normally this one would just be trash. You can even see where I wacky rigged it and got bit, and just slid that rubber band down a little bit more, put the hook back through. But yeah, it really does prolong those baits. As far as rods, I like to throw these on spinning rods personally. This one right here, I love this rod. It's a Californian, Turner's Tackle sells these. I believe they're a Phoenix blank, but this is the CBX S71 Lite. Honestly, I don't look at that very often. People ask me like what rods I fish all the time. I'm like, I don't know, the one that feels like a medium. I don't know. I usually go by feel. But this one's rated 4 to 10 pound, so it's on the lighter side, but this one's great for wacky rigging, or if you want to hook a fish and like actually be able to fight it and make it a little more sporting, a little more fun. That's a great rod. I almost exclusively fish Shimano Sedonas. They're just for the money, honestly, you can't beat them. I freaking love these reels. Smooth drag, relatively inexpensive, anywhere from I think like 55 to like 80 bucks. I like the 1000 size, or if you want to get a little more finessey, the 500 size. That one's really fun to fish on as well. This is a Phoenix rod. This one's the Maxim medium light, 6'10", 6 to 12 pound line. So yeah, in that like 4 to 10, 6 to 12 pound line is usually where I like to go. And one last tip before I wrap this up for you guys, if you've been bass fishing for a long time, you're probably kind of set in your ways, and that's totally fine. However, if you don't get to fish often, or you're just getting into it, and your gear just doesn't feel right. You feel like you're kind of missing out on bites. You're losing fish. It just doesn't feel right. I highly suggest fishing braid to a short fluorocarbon leader. As you can see, both of these rods have that. I'd say 98% of my fishing rods are braid to leader, whether it's saltwater or freshwater. There's only a few applications that I think having straight mono or straight fluoro is beneficial. And again, let me know in the comments what you think. It's just the sensitivity of braid to leader is unmatched. I mean, you can feel that Senko. You can't feel the Senko sinking, but you're watching your line and you can feel that tick with that braid to leader. Another thing is you don't have the memory, right? So when you have that braid to leader, you can fire that thing out there and get so much more distance, in my opinion, without having to change your spool constantly. I mean, this stuff lasts years. I don't remember the last time I've re-spooled this one. You can see this one's a little more, it's the same line. This line's a little more gray, so I probably should re-spool it soon, just because it's more sun damage than that one. Yeah, you can see the difference there. But again, it lasts years. I don't think this is brought up enough, or really at all, with the braid to leader conversation. But another huge benefit is being able to change your leader on the fly, because not everybody has 10, 15, 20 rods on the deck of their bass boat spooled up with all different pound tests covering every scenario, right? Most people have 1, 2, 3, or 4 rods, especially if they're in a kayak, float tubing, shore fishing, especially. You don't want to carry a bunch of rods. Instead, you go braid to leader, so once you get down in the lake and you realize, oh shoot, I need to fish heavier because I keep breaking off, or lighter because the water is super clean and these fish are being picky, you just cut off that short leader, tie on a fresh one. You just bring, 2, 3, or 4 spools of line, keep those in your backpack. See, even Enzo wants to eat the Senko. Silly guy. And yeah, you can get down the lake and change it on the fly. I don't know if this is the right video to kind of delve down that more, but I'll do a designated kind of gear video soon, promise, and I'll go more into how I rig everything up. But yeah, I mean, that's the just a couple of little fun tips for Senko fishing for you guys out there. Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is hands down probably the best fishing lure for largemouth bass across the country, from Florida all the way out to Hawaii. Shoot, probably even worldwide, honestly. They just flat out get bit. And I hope this gives you a little bit of confidence, a little bit help on your technique on how you're fishing them. And yeah, if you have any other questions or you have any other suggestions or anything like that, leave them down in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys down in the comments. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to support the channel at all, just remember I'm a loan officer. So if you or anyone you know is looking to purchase a home or has any questions about how to qualify for a home loan, shoot me an email at fluentfishingofficial@gmail.com, and then I'll get you in contact with my work contact information, and we can go from there. But yeah, like this video, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Later, guys.